Today is the 26th of August 2010, and this is the 38th time we are talking on the Majjhima Nikaya Suttas. And now we come to Sutta 93, Assalayana Sutta. To Assalayana. Thus have I heard, 1 minute, the next following suttas, the few following suttas are all concerned the Brahmins. It's quite interesting. The sutta show at the time of the Buddha how these Brahmins always try to assert their superiority and try to argue with the Buddha. Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Blessed One was living at Savatthi in Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's park. Now at that time, 500 Brahmins from diverse provinces were staying at Savatthi for some business or other. Then those Brahmins thought, this recluse Gotama describes purification for all the four castes. Who is there able to dispute with him about this assertion? Stop here for a moment. These Brahmins, they claim that only they are pure. All the other castes, the other three castes are impure. Also, they claim that every morning before dawn and in the evening after dusk, they go and immerse themselves in the river, and they can purify themselves by washing away their sins, but they say all other castes cannot do that. But so when they heard that the Buddha says all the four castes can be purified, they were not happy. So they were trying to think of somebody to go and argue with him. Now on that occasion, a Brahmin student named Assalayana was staying at Savatthi, young, shaven-headed, 16 years old. He was a master of the three Vedas with their vocabularies, liturgy, phonology and etymology, and the histories as a fifth. Skilled in philology and grammar, he was fully versed in natural philosophy and in the marks of a great man. Then the Brahmins thought, there is this young Brahmin student named Assalayana staying at Savatthi, young, shaven-headed, 16 years old, etc., and fully versed in natural philosophy and the marks of a great man. He will be able to dispute with the recluse Gotama about this assertion. So the Brahmins went to the Brahmin student Assalayana and said to him, Master Assalayana, this recluse Gotama describes purification for all the four castes. Let Master Assalayana come and dispute with the recluse Gotama about this assertion. When this was said, the Brahmin student Assalayana replied, Sirs, the recluse Gotama is one who speaks the Dhamma. Now those who speak the Dhamma are difficult to dispute with. I am not able to dispute with the recluse Gotama about this assertion. The second time, the Brahmin said to him, Master Assalayana, this recluse Gotama describes purification for all the four castes. Let Master Assalayana come and dispute with the recluse Gotama about this assertion. For the training of a wanderer has been completed by Master Assalayana. For the second time, the Brahmin student Assalayana replied, Sirs, the recluse Gotama is one who speaks the Dhamma. Now, those who speak the Dhamma are difficult to dispute with. I am not able to dispute with the recluse Gotama about this assertion. A third time, the Brahmin said to him, Master Assalayana, this recluse Gotama describes purification for all the four castes. Let Master Assalayana come and dispute with the recluse Gotama about this assertion. For the training of a wanderer has been completed by Master Assalayana. Let not the Master Assalayana be defeated without having even fought the battle. When this was said, the Brahmin student Assalayana replied, Sirs, the recluse Gotama is one who speaks the Dhamma. Now those who speak the Dhamma are difficult to dispute with. I am not able to dispute with the recluse Gotama about this assertion. Still, sirs, at your bidding, I will go. Stop here for a moment. So, this Assalayana, he heard of the reputation of the Buddha, so he dare not go to debate with the Buddha. But since they persuaded him 3 times, he felt he had no choice, so he was willing to go. Then the Brahmin student, Assalayana, went with a great number of Brahmins to the Blessed One and exchanged greetings with him. And this courteous and amiable talk was finished. He sat down at one side and said to the Blessed One, I stop here for a moment. You see, they only exchange greetings with the Buddha. They never pay respect to the Buddha. So he said to the Blessed One, Master Gotama, the Brahmins say thus, Brahmins are the highest caste. Those of any other caste are inferior. Brahmins are the fairest caste. Those of any other caste are dark. Only Brahmins are purified, not non-Brahmins. Brahmins alone are the sons of Brahma, the offspring of Brahma, born of his mouth, born of Brahma, created by Brahma, heirs of Brahma. What does Master Gotama say about that? I'll stop here for a moment. So this is their belief, Brahmins, they are born from the great Deva, Brahma or Maha Brahma, who resides in the first jhana plane, the lowest of the form realm. So they claim they are born from the mouth of this Brahma. And the Buddha said, now Assalayana, the Brahmin women are seen having their periods, becoming pregnant, giving birth, and giving suck. And yet those who are born from the wombs of the Brahmin women say thus, Brahmins are the highest caste. Those of any other caste are inferior. Brahmins are the fairest caste. Those of any other caste are dark. Only Brahmins are purified, not non-Brahmins. Brahmins alone are the sons of Brahma, offspring of Brahma, born of his mouth, born of Brahma, created by Brahma, heirs of Brahma. Stop here for a moment. So the Buddha says, it is evident, everybody can see that women, Brahmin women, they become pregnant and give birth to their babies and give suck to their babies. And yet, all of you, even though you are born from the Brahmin womb, you say you are born from Brahma's mouth. And he said, although Master Gotama says this, still the Brahmins think thus. Brahmins are the highest caste. Those of any other caste are inferior, etc., etc. And the Buddha replied, what do you think, Assalayana? Have you heard that in Yona and Cambodia and in other outland countries there are only 2 castes, masters and slaves, and that masters become slaves and slaves masters? So I have heard, sir. Then on the strength of what argument or with the support of what authority do the Brahmins in this case say thus, Brahmins are the highest caste, others, those of any other caste are inferior, etc. Stop here for a moment. So the Buddha says, in other countries, they have only 2 caste system, masters and slaves, and masters can become slaves and slaves can become masters. So those masters in those lands, they are the superior caste. So even if Brahmins go there, they are not superior. Although Master Gotama says this, still the Brahmins think thus. Brahmins are the highest caste. Those of any other caste are inferior, etc. What do you think, Assalayana? Suppose a noble, somebody of the noble clan, were to kill living beings, take what is not given, misconduct himself in sensual pleasures, speak falsely, speak maliciously, speak harshly, gossip, be covetous, have a mind of ill will, and hold wrong view on the dissolution of the body after death, would only he be likely to reappear in a state of deprivation, in an unhappy destination, in perdition, even in hell, and not a Brahmin. Suppose a merchant or a worker who were to kill living beings, etc., and hold wrong view, on the dissolution of the body after death, would only he be likely to reappear in a state of deprivation, in an unhappy destination, in perdition, even in hell, and not a Brahmin? No, Master Gotama, whether it be a noble or a Brahmin or a merchant or a worker, those of all four castes who kill living beings, take what is not given, misconduct themselves in sensual pleasure, speak falsely, etc., on the dissolution of the body after death, are likely to reappear in a state of deprivation, in an unhappy destination, in perdition, even in hell. And the Buddha said, then on the strength of what argument or with the support of what authority do the Brahmins in this case say thus, Brahmins are the highest caste, those of any other caste are inferior, etc. Stop here for a moment. So here the Buddha shows him, if anybody misconducts himself by doing the 10 unwholesome karmas, then they are bound for rebirth in a woeful destination. It doesn't matter whether they are nobles or Brahmins or merchants or workers. So in which case they are all the same. Although Master Gotama says this, still the Brahmins think thus. Brahmins are the highest caste, those of any other caste are inferior, etc., etc. What do you think, Assalayana? Suppose a Brahmin were to abstain from killing living beings, from taking what is not given, from misconduct in sensual pleasures, from false speech, from malicious speech, from harsh speech, and from gossip, and were to be uncovetous, to have a mind without ill will, and to hold right view, on the dissolution of the body after death, would only he be likely to reappear in a happy destination, even in the heavenly world, and not a noble or a merchant or a worker. No, Master Gotama, whether it be a noble or a Brahmin or a merchant or a worker, those of all four castes who abstain from killing living beings, from taking what is not given, from misconduct in sensual pleasures, etc., on the dissolution of the body after death, are likely to reappear in a happy destination, even in the heavenly world. Then on the strength of what argument or with the support of what authority do the Brahmins in this case say thus, Brahmins are the highest caste, those of any other caste are inferior, etc. Although Master Gotama says this, still the Brahmins think thus, Brahmins are the highest caste, those of any other caste are inferior, etc. What do you think, Assalayana? Is only a Brahmin capable of developing a mind of loving kindness towards a certain region, without hostility and without ill will, and not a noble, or a merchant, or a worker? No, Master Gotama, whether it be a noble, or a Brahmin, or a merchant, or a worker, those of all four castes are capable of developing a mind of loving kindness towards a certain region, without hostility and without ill will. Then on the strength of what argument or with the support of what authority do the Brahmins in this case say thus, Brahmins are the highest caste, those of any other caste are inferior, etc. Stop here for a moment. These Brahmins, they hope that after death they will be reborn in the Brahma heavens to have union with Brahma. So they like to practice these Brahma Viharas, this meditation on the divine abidings, where they radiate loving four things, loving kindness, compassion, joy and equanimity. The Pali is Metta, Karuna, Mudita and Upekkha. So when they practice this meditation, then they can attain the jhanas, and they can be reborn in the Brahma heaven. But here he considered that not only a Brahmin can practice this meditation, any person of any other caste can also do so. Although Master Gotama says this, still the Brahmins think thus, Brahmins are the highest caste, those of any other caste are inferior, etc. What do you think, Assalayana? Is only a Brahmin capable of taking a loofah and bark powder, going to the river and washing off dust and dirt, and not a noble or a merchant or a worker? No, Master Gautama, whether it be a noble or Brahmin or a merchant or a worker, those of all four castes are capable of taking a loofah and bath powder, going to the river and washing off dust and dirt. Then on the strength of what argument or with the support of what authority do the Brahmins in this case say thus, Brahmins are the highest caste, etc. Stop it for a moment. So here the Buddha shows him that any person of any caste can go to the river and wash off the dust and dirt, purify themselves, at least externally, not only Brahmins. Although Master Gautama says this, still the Brahmins think thus. Brahmins are the highest caste, those of any other caste are inferior, etc. So he keeps insisting that Brahmins are the highest caste. What do you think, Assalayana? Suppose a head anointed noble king were to assemble here 100 men of different birth and say to them, Come, sirs, let any here who have been born into a noble clan, or a Brahmin clan, or a royal clan, take an upper fire stick of sala wood, salala wood, sandalwood, and padumaka wood, and light a fire and produce heat. And also let any who have been born into an outcast clan, a trapper clan, a wickers workers clan, a cartwright's clan, or a scavenger's clan, take an upper fire stick made from a dog's drinking trough, or from a pig's trough, from a dustbin, or from castor oil wood, and light a fire and produce heat. What do you think, Assalayana? When a fire is lit and heat is produced by someone in the first group, would that fire have a flame, a color, and a radiance? And would it be possible to use it for the purposes of fire? While when a fire is lit and heat is produced by someone in the second group, that fire would have no flame, no color, and no radiance, and it would not be possible to use it for the purposes of fire. No, Master Gautama, when a fire is lit and produced by someone in the first group, that fire would have a flame, a color, and a radiance, and it would be possible to use it for the purposes of fire. And when a fire is lit and heat is produced by someone of the second group, that fire too would have a flame, a color, and a radiance, and it would be possible to use it for the purposes of fire. For all fire has a flame, a color, and a radiance, and it is possible to use all fire for the purposes of fire. Then on the strength of what argument or with the support of what authority do the Brahmins in this case say thus, Brahmins are the highest caste, etc. I'll stop here for a moment. So here the Buddha says there are two groups of people here. One is the higher clan, that means either a noble or a Brahmin. And then if they were to light a fire from good wood, sala wood or salala wood or sandalwood or padumaka wood, and a fire is produced. When you compare it with the second group consists of very low caste people. This trapper, wicker worker, cartwright, scavenger, all these worker clan, the Sudas. And then even includes the outcast. Outcast is somebody so low, there is not even inside one of the four clans. Four castes. And then these second group, being of low birth, on top of that, they take wood from dirty places, like a dog's drinking trough and a pig's trough, where the dog drinks the water or the pig drinks the water from the dustbin, and castor oil wood. And if they were to produce a heat, a fire, using this dirty wood, this second group, when they produce a fire, the fire is still the same, whether it's produced by this higher clan or the lower clan. The fire, the radiance, the flame, the heat, color, everything would still be the same. It doesn't matter what wood you use, and it doesn't matter who produces the fire. So the Buddha shows him, then they are all the same. Although Master Gautama says this, still the Brahmins think thus. Brahmins are the highest caste. Those of any other caste are inferior, etc. What do you think, Assalayana? Suppose a noble youth were to cohabit with a Brahmin girl and a son was born from their cohabitation. Should a son born from a noble youth and a Brahmin girl be called a noble after the father or a Brahmin after the mother? He could be called both, Master Gautama. What do you think, Assalayana? Suppose a Brahmin youth here were to cohabit with a noble girl, and a son were to be born from their cohabitation. Should the son born from a Brahmin youth and a noble girl be called a noble after the mother or a Brahmin after the father? He could be called both, Master Gautama. What do you think, Assalayana? Suppose a mare were to be mated with a male donkey, and a foal were to be born as the result. Should the foal be called a horse after the mother, or a donkey after the father? It is a mule, Master Gautama, since it does not belong to either kind. I see the difference in this last case, but I see no difference in either of the former cases. What do you think, Assalayana? Suppose there were two Brahmin students who were brothers, born of the same mother, one studious and acute, and one neither studious nor acute. Which of them would Brahmins feed first at a funeral feast, or at a ceremonial milk rice offering, or at a sacrificial feast, or at a feast for guests? On such occasions, Brahmins would feed first the one who was studious and acute, Master Gautama. For how could what is given to one who is neither studious nor acute bring great fruit? Stop here for a moment. So here, when you have two Brahmins, one is very studious, diligent, and also is very sharp, intelligent, compared to another who is not so diligent or intelligent. Then they would give preference to the one who was more studious and acute. What do you think, Assalayana? Suppose there were two Brahmin students who were brothers, born of the same mother, one studious and acute, but immoral and of bad character, and one neither studious nor acute, but virtuous and of good character. Which of them would Brahmins feed first at a funeral feast, or at a ceremonial milk rice offering, or at a sacrificial feast, or at a feast for guests? On such occasions, Brahmins would feed first the one who was neither studious nor acute, but virtuous and of good character, Master Gautama. For how could what is given to one who is immoral and of bad character bring great fruit? And the Buddha said, first, Assalayana, you took your stand on birth. And after that, you took your stand on scriptural learning. And after that, you have come to take your stand on the very ground that purification is for all castes, as I describe it. And this was said, the Brahmin student, Assalayana, sat silent and dismayed, with shoulders drooping and head down, glum, and without response. Stop here for a moment. So, at first, this Assalayana, he says that a person is superior because of birth. And then after that, he said because of scriptural learning, because Brahmins are supposed to be have great learning, they are versed in the three Vedas. And then after that, the Buddha said, now you agree with me that purification is for all four castes. I guess what the Buddha means is that when the birth is the same, then there are other qualities that are important. One is the second one is the studious and acute one is the learning, scriptural learning. And then the third one, virtuous or good character, is even more important. It's even more important than one who was studious and acute. And this person who is virtuous and of good character, it can be from any caste. Earlier the Buddha showed that it's not only Brahmins who can be virtuous and of good character. Anybody who keeps the who does not do unwholesome actions and does all the 10 wholesome actions or 10 wholesome karmas, then he is purified. in which case the most important here the Buddha shows is virtue, good character, which is similar to purification. If a person is virtuous or good character, he purifies himself. So Assalayana could not reply and sat dismayed. Knowing this, the Blessed One said to him, once, Assalayana, when 7 Brahmin seers were dwelling in leaf huts in the forest, this pernicious view arose in them. Brahmins are the highest caste, those of any other caste are inferior, etc., etc. Now the seer, Devala the dark, Kanha Devala, heard this. Then he arranged his hair and beard, dressed in ochre-colored garments, put on stout sandals, and taking a staff made of gold, he appeared in the courtyard of the 7 Brahmin seers. Then while walking up and down the courtyard of the 7 Brahmin seers, the seer Devala the dark spoke thus, where have those worthy Brahmin seers gone? Where have those worthy Brahmin seers gone? Then the 7 Brahmin seers thought, who is walking up and down in the courtyard of the 7 Brahmin seers like a village lout, speaking thus, where have those worthy Brahmin seers gone? Where have those worthy Brahmin seers gone? Let us curse him. Then the 7 Brahmin seers cursed the seer Devala the dark thus, be ashes, vile one, be ashes, vile one. But the more the 7 Brahmin seers cursed him, the more comely, beautiful and handsome the seer Devala the dark became. Then the 7 Brahmin seers thought, our asceticism is in vain, our holy life is fruitless, for formerly when we cursed anyone thus, be ashes, vile one, be ashes, vile one, he always became ashes. But the more we curse this one, the more comely, beautiful and handsome he becomes. And this Devala said, your asceticism is not in vain, sirs. Your holy life is not fruitless. But sirs, put away your hatred towards me. And they said, we have put away our hatred towards you, sir. Who are you? Have you heard of the seer Devala the dark, sirs? Yes, sir. I am he, sirs. Then the 7 Brahmin seers went to the seer Devala the dark and paid homage to him. I'll stop here for a moment. These, in the olden days, the Brahmins were supposed to be the priest caste, the ascetics. And so these 7 Brahmins, they were practicing meditation very hard in the forest, staying together in leaf huts. So they must have attained to quite a high level, and they are very good with these mantras. So they say from here that in the past, when they curse somebody, maybe they curse either with their psychic power or with their mantras, that person will turn into ashes. But this Devala, his psychic power is even more powerful. So however hard they tried to kill him, burn him up, they could not do it. So when they heard that he was this famous seer or rishi, Devala the dark, they paid homage to him. Then he said to them, sirs, I heard that while the 7 Brahmin seers were dwelling in leaf huts in the forest, this pernicious view arose in them. Brahmins are the highest caste, those of any other caste are inferior, etc. And they said, that is so, sir. But sirs, do you know if the mother who bore you went only with a Brahmin and never with a non-Brahmin? And they said, no, sir. But sirs, do you know if your mother's back to the 7th generation went only with Brahmins and never with non-Brahmins? And they said, no, sir. But sirs, do you know if the father who begot you went only with a Brahmin woman and never with a non-Brahmin woman? No, sirs. But sirs, do you know if your father's fathers back to the 7th generation went with only Brahmin women and never with non-Brahmin women? No, sir. Stop here for a moment. So here the Buddha is showing them, you don't actually know whether you were born from a pure Brahmin mother and father, because you don't know who they slept with and all these things. But sirs, do you know how the conception of an embryo in a womb comes about? Sir, we know how the conception of an embryo in a womb comes about. Here there is a union of the mother and father. And it is the mother's season, and the being to be reborn is present. Thus the conception of an embryo in a womb comes about through the union of these three things. Then, sirs, do you know for sure whether that being to be reborn is a noble or a Brahmin or a merchant or a worker? Sir, we do not know for sure whether that being to be reborn is a noble or a Brahmin or a merchant or a worker. That being so, sirs, then what are you? That being so, sir, we do not know what we are. Now, Assalayana, even those 7 Brahmin seers, on being pressed and questioned and cross-questioned by the seer Devala the Dark on their own assertion about birth, were unable to support it. But how shall you, on being pressed and questioned and cross-questioned by me now, on your assertion about birth, be able to support it? You who rely on the teacher's doctrines are not even fit to be their spoon holder, Puna. And this was said, the Brahmin student Assalayana said to the Blessed One, Magnificent Master Gotama, etc. From today, let Master Gotama remember me as a lay follower who has gone to him for refuge for life. That's the end of the sutta. So here the Buddha says, in the past, these 7 Brahmin seers so arrogant about their birth, but when they were questioned and cross-questioned by the seer Devala, this seer Devala is Devala the Dark. That means he's not a Brahmin. He's a dark fellow. So when he questioned and cross-questioned them, they admitted they don't know actually. Before their birth, they are supposed to be that this Gandhaba, this intermediate body that lodges itself in the womb. So they don't know their previous birth, whether their previous birth they were a Brahmin or a noble or a merchant or a worker. So that being so, they don't really know what they were before. So the Buddha says, even these 7 Brahmin seers with psychic power, they could not stand up to questioning by the seer Devala. How can you stand up to my questioning? The Buddha says, you are not even fit to be their spoon holder. So this is one of the suttas that shows how they like to argue about with the Buddha about their birth.